You are listening to the Boss Experience Podcast, a podcast with conversations about business growth, self-development, and maintaining a mindset to achieve business success. My name is Michelle Davis, and I am a business strategist and coach, and I am your host. Let's get started. Previously on the Boss Experience. Today, my special guest is Adrienne Lucy. And she is a coach, an entrepreneur, and fellow podcaster. The name of her podcast is the Goal Mind Podcast. So I'm excited to have her here because today, guess what we're talking about? Organizing yourself for success. And there may be some goal setting slipped in there a little bit too. So Adrienne, you've been in business for 5 years, right? Or all around being organized and really focused on goal setting. And so do you find a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with that? And also, why did you even choose this niche anyway? Are you trying to turn your expertise into an online coaching business that replaces your 9-to-5 income? If so, tell me if this sounds familiar. You took a coaching certification class, but still don't know how to develop a coaching business or get clients. You bought a course only to never implement what you learned, or worse, you still don't know where to start. Or maybe you're struggling to piece together a bunch of free information you find online, hoping and praying for results, only to still be confused. The key to earning revenue in your online coaching business is having a process to get the right people contacting you about enrolling in your programs and services. You also need a coaching offer that gets results for your clients in addition to you being able to charge a premium price for your services. So if you need help putting these pieces together, my name is Michelle Davis, and I am the host of the Boss Experience Podcast, in addition to being a phenomenal business coach. And I created a free short video explaining where to begin when it comes to starting an online coaching business that replaces your 9-to-5 income. Just go to CEOBlueprintacademy.com to get instant access now. That's CEOBlueprintacademy.com. Okay, back to the show.
Well, first, thank you for having me on the show. I'm super excited on the podcast. But yeah, it is super niche. And when I first started out, I was a little bit more broad, kind of like life coaching, all of this stuff. But what really got me to actually see how many people actually struggle with this is one of the top 4 things that all entrepreneurs struggle with. And that's just organizing and time management is a really big thing. But I was in healthcare for 10 years before officially being full-time in my business. And I would see so many people talk about all these great ideas that they had, a lot of things that they wanted to do, or little, side businesses that they had, super creative, but they couldn't create a plan for it. They couldn't organize and structure it in a way that would actually push them and actually get them to start acting on all of the ideas that they had. I think Les Brown says the graveyard is one of the richest places in the world because we are creatives just by nature. That's who we are as humans. We're made in the likeness of God and all of that. So we have a lot of great creative ideas. But if you're not organizing and you don't know how to structure them in a way to actually create them and bring them into fruition, then they'll just be ideas. And so once I started seeing how many people, even the people that actually were able to create a plan, start the business, they were really creating another job for themselves. They were burned out. They were overwhelmed. They weren't hitting their sales goals because they actually couldn't bring in more clients. And it was strictly not because of marketing. I know a lot of us love marketing and think that, if we just get more people, that will work. But they were very disorganized, not structured in a way that actually set them up for success. And so the more I did market surveys and started talking to the people that were booked and busy, I was seeing that they were booked and busy, but they were not living the life that they even created the business for. And so that's what caused me to kind of niche into this small but very important part of business.
One thing I notice with a lot of entrepreneurs, and I'm sure you've seen this as well, is they want to jump to step 20 and really you got to set the foundation. If you don't have a foundation, there's no success from there. And goal setting, getting organized, it doesn't mean, those things don't mean you won't feel like you have ADHD or like you can't focus on any given day. But those things are really important. And I think so many people skip over that and they think that they could run a business, they could serve clients. If you don't have like processes in your business, that's all part of being organized. Having processes, having systems, knowing how your business operates. So, who is Adrienne Lucy?
Well, I've always been very entrepreneurial. Even when as a kid, there was something that I wanted, I would create something. My dad is a pastor. And so the church people were my first clients or audience. I would look at what people wanted, whether it was jewelry for their dresses or they wanted their hair done. And I would just always be like, oh, I can do that for you. And I would learn how to do it and I would do it and charge money just so that I could have money and get access to the things that I wanted. So I've always been that person, very creative. I used to play this story in my head because I was all over the place. And so I was very talented in a lot of different things, but I didn't know how to use it for my own advantage. And so for a long time, that kind of hurt me in business because I was just thinking, I'm all over the place. I don't know, I won't stick with something long enough, but I had to really understand that this is who I am. I am very creative. I do have a lot of interests and I actually can, engage in all of them if I'm organized and if I'm structured in a way that works for me. And so that's just always been who I was. Like I said, I was in healthcare for 10 years. Crazy enough, didn't feel like I was really serving in a way that I could use my creativity. Healthcare is very protocols, by the book, kind of go out on your own thing. You could hurt somebody. And so I just really wanted to I love the people aspect of it. I love serving people, but I took what I knew and I learned in business. I have a master's in business. I took what I learned from healthcare and I coupled it with my just innate gifts of being creative and organized and structured. And I created a business.
Wow. And it's funny that you say that you're not, like, you didn't grow up organized, that wasn't something that you naturally had in you, despite the religious background, because just like in healthcare, it could be rigid and it could be, like, oh my God, like I can't do this, I can't do that. And, you were this creative mind just trying to function in that environment. What was that like, trying to get from creative Adrienne to organized Adrienne, all within the confines of the church? And
yeah, it was hard. So I grew up apostolic, which for a lot of people who don't know, is very similar to Pentecostal. There are a lot of rules. As a matter of fact, I wanted to run track. We didn't have a track team at my school, but I wanted to do like extracurricular. And it wasn't that they didn't want me to, but they were like, who's going to take you? Like we have church. We have church on Fridays. We have church on Sundays and Sunday nights and all of this stuff. And so I was in church all the time. And I think that just having that on the inside of me, I created it within the church. So I did a lot of youth group stuff. I was a youth group leader. We had choir, just a lot of activities where we could kind of function and be creative inside of church. So like I said, that's just who I am. And I've always been that way. And I found ways to make it work within whatever situation that I was in. And it's funny because I really do believe that is what pushed me to be this person that I am now. Like I had to figure out how to, all of these ideas, how could I structure them? How could I organize them in a way that people would accept or like they could understand my mindset around it? And so I had a lot of practice growing up in that type of environment. And even in healthcare, I was behind the scenes a lot, helping out with creating protocols and systems and processes that would allow us to keep getting the same result over and over again. And so that's pretty much just, I feel like my background pushed me to be able to now, when I see or I'm working with a client, I'm like, oh yeah, I can see the holes right here. This is what you need to do. We need to restructure this. We need to organize that so that it works for you and your business. So a lot of practice, but it definitely helped me become who I am now.
And you just said a key thing, being able to replicate your result. A lot of entrepreneurs tend to kind of like they either rush to hire somebody. They're not taking the time to get to know their business, how their business functions, what's working, what's not working, why something isn't working. You're the captain of that ship. It's not someone else's job to come in and run your business. And the only way to do that is with systems that can be replicated. You can set your team members or your freelancer or whomever you're working with for success. Let's go back to what you found worked for you and what you're seeing is working for your clients in terms of being organized, because they're coming in with no systems, disorganized, they can't focus, and they want to build their business just like anyone else. So what are some things that you see are working, that you see working with your clients right now?
Yeah, well, just to go back just a little bit about what you said, I think that's the number one mistake that most people do. Think that I'm so overwhelmed, I'm so burned out, I just need help. But they're not identifying where they need help, what they need help with, because everything's all over the place. And so I tell people all the time, before you start to do that, you need to have a system in place. Like you said, not for them to come in and figure it out, but for you to already to just say, hey, this is what I need you to do. You have to be super specific about that hiring process. I think people go way too vague. I need a VA. I'm paying $12. Who can help me? Like, what is, even if that's a title, they're not even understanding what they need the person to do. Mm-hmm. They haven't even pinpointed that. And so it's important to say, if I'm going to bring somebody in, what tasks are they going to be responsible for? And how can I make sure that and I say that for anything that you're doing, if you're building a business, you should be able to walk away from that and have somebody else come in and be able to get the same results by having those formulas and those systems and processes in place. And so one of the things that we do for clients that have this, we take a look at their workflows. What are you doing on a daily basis that's the same thing, or a weekly basis that's the same thing over and over? Then we create a step-by-step process. So if a 7-year-old comes in here and they follow these instructions, they'll be able to get that same result over and over and over. Once you get your workflow set up, then you're able to bring somebody else in, because you already have a system and a process in place where you can assign those tasks. Another thing that is working well with my clients is a task management system. The number one thing that I see people do, they have a list of things they need to do, and they just go into the work week like that. Like, okay, I need to finish all these things. And then at the end of the week or the end of the month, they're behind and they don't know how. You cannot work from a to-do list. And so it's very important that you have a task management system. And what I mean by that is a system that guarantees that you're getting towards your goals. You're able to track, you're getting the high priority things done, so that at the end, when you're looking back, everything is complete, or you have a guarantee of knowing that this is going to be completed. And it sounds fancy, but it's really not. You want to make sure that to-do list is what I call a brain dump. You should have a place where you are putting down all the things that you need to do, and it's a revolving list. What we have to do never ends. All my clients know I hate paper. We do not do paper in my coaching program. I actually use ClickUp, which is a digital, kind of like a digital planner, but I use it as a task management system to where you're capturing this list of things you need to do. A lot of times we try to figure it all out or keep it in our head. Our brains don't work like that. We're going to forget. There's so many distractions. You're not going to be able to stay organized that way. And so I have them every week on a Sunday. You're doing a brain dump. You're writing down everything that you need to do for the week or whenever. You just need somewhere to remember everything. Once you have all of that in a list, you're going to go and you're going to prioritize that list. You're going to categorize that list. You're going to bring context to it. You need to assign deadlines. You need to make sure that you know how long each of these tasks are going to take. Because again, this is one of the things that cause people to be unorganized, is that they're creating, okay, tomorrow I'm going to do this list of things, finish it. And so you go in, I have them to put deadlines, figure out how long each task is going to take, and then you schedule out your week. so that every day you know exactly what you're working on. And at the end of that week, you've completed things. You check things off the list. You've managed your task well. And so just going from a to-do list and not really knowing if I'm going to actually be able to finish this causes procrastination. It causes overwhelm. It causes you to get behind. And working from a system like that will never help you to get where you want to be. And so that task management system is pretty much the foundation of my coaching program. So that is another thing that helps to keep my clients organized in their businesses, because when you're creating a business, if you're not organized as a leader, there's no way you're going to be able to manage your team or assign tasks to your team. Or, you know what I'm saying? You're not going to be able to manage your projects if you're all over the place. And so that foundation is something that really, really helps them to get organized and structured.
And just like I was mentioning before, there's no like cookie cutter stuff that really happens. You really have to know your business, how long it takes for you to complete a task, because how can you bring someone on and enter into a payment agreement as a freelancer or a random general VA, and you can't even pinpoint how long it takes to create a social media post, schedule content for the month, write a blog, take some, and I always recommend to my clients that they actually perform the task first. Say if it's a Facebook ad, don't go out and just hire an agency. Just look at the platform, look at the back end. Even if you don't know how to run an ad, look at the back end, see what's entailed, what's involved, so that when they're communicating to you, you know what they're talking about. Because another way of wasting time is engaging in activities that aren't income producing, or running in circles. So it's great that there is a resource out there and a service like that, that you offer. Now, do you also work with organizations or companies, or do you just work with like other coaches? Like who's your clients?
Oh, small business owners, mostly service-based businesses. And then I have some clients that they have products like t-shirts, or they do those types of things, but primarily service-based businesses. Small business owners, they're doing really good, but as of now, I don't work with organizations.
Okay. Is that like, what's your goal? Like, where do you go from here?
I would definitely love to do training for organizations, leaders, that type of thing. But right now I'm just pretty much in my coaching business and growing that. And I'm working on some e-courses and things like that for more digital products.
Well, let's talk about your podcast. Okay. Because this is just kind of a sample of what you discuss on your podcast, right?
Yeah. My podcast is more of more self-development and motivational, inspirational type of thing. I believe that we're all very creative and that we all should have multiple streams of income. And I believe that we all have something that we can offer to the world. A lot of times people just don't feel like I can do that. They see other people, but they don't believe that they have anything to offer to the world. And so that's one of my passions, is just to couple my knowledge of the Bible and my natural encouraging kind of vibe or motivation type of vibe, and just to motivate people to look and learn about themselves and know that we're just not here to just be here. We're here to serve and put the gifts that God has given us out into the world. And so that's pretty much what my podcast is about, doing that and then learning how to achieve those goals, learning more so about the leader of the business, developing the leader.
Okay. We learned how to be better organized for success. We learned, a little bit about you and who you are and your background. And we learned about your coaching, what you do in your coaching program and the process that you take your clients through, and what you discuss in your podcast. Is there anything else you'd like to add in terms of being organized as we close out this episode, or any last words?
Again, I thank you for allowing me to be on here and just bringing light to the importance of being organized in your business. Like I said earlier, we often think that more clients or more sales will answer all the problems. But often I tell my clients, think about if you had as many clients as you think you want, or you're selling the way that you want, would you be able to handle that? would you be able to handle that and live a life that you desire? Be able to take time off and, travel or do all of those things. And your business doesn't require that you're right there, that you have to make and package each sale, or you're servicing your clients in the way that you want to, and then you can still take care of your family and enjoy life. And if not, then the organization and the structure part of your business should be your priority. It should be your priority before, marketing yourself and trying to increase, your platform and get more people, be more known. You need to get that part handled, because the worst thing that could happen is that you get the people and then your reputation is tarnished because you couldn't serve your clients or your customers the way that you have the potential. So, yeah.
And word travels fast. In the online community, people will talk about you and they'll say, don't do business with this person. They'll put it out there in a group with 10,000 people. Yep.
And most of the time, we only get that one time. You only get that one chance. And if somebody has a bad experience, that's it. It's important.
Do you help your clients set up automation too, like as a part of getting organized and being able to be more productive by working on their business instead of in their business?
Absolutely. So I'm all about effective execution. We work around helping you to learn time management. We do automations, processes, implementing systems into your business. I was just working with my client with her schedule, her hours, her working hours, figuring out what actually works for her. I am not a cookie cutter. That's what's been so hard about creating courses, because every business is different. Every person is different. Their dynamic, their family situation, their goals are all different. And so you have to figure out what works for you. And so I help with all of the back end stuff that would help you execute and be more productive in your business and create the team. So even working with clients who they're at the point where, hey, I do need help. I help them create the processes and the workflows to be able to bring somebody in, even creating a work description for a new employee, all of that. So all of the things, so structure, systems, organizing, automations, everything that would just help you to run your business more smoothly.
And so you do individual and group, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a one-on-one coaching program, and I also have a group coaching program that I just started. It's called For Gold Diggers Only. And so we're pretty much taking, I taught a business planning workshop at the beginning of the year, which was phenomenal. I'm still getting people say like, oh my gosh, I've been so productive and crossing off goals so much faster and it's just the first month of the year. But basically I taught in that the strategies on how to plan for your business, how to create goals and plan an actual execution plan. And so the group coaching program is basically birthed from that. So it's just a bunch of us that have our goals in our businesses, and we hold each other accountable. We track goals each week. We do our weekly planning sessions, and then we come in and we bounce ideas off of each other. We talk about, the challenges of the week, how we can kind of adjust and be more productive. So it's a very small group. I'm not big on like, I just want a whole bunch of people, because I want to be effective, right? And so it's a small group, but the program for February is open. So, and I think when it airs, I'll be gearing up for March. And so if anybody wants to join and just have a girl gang, I call it a girl gang of, like-minded individuals, because it's important to have that, support group and that environment for growth. We inspire each other. So that's also what I offer.
That's awesome. So how can people get a hold of Adrienne Lucy?
Well, I am on Instagram as the Fundamentor. Also on Facebook, really big on Facebook right now, just as my name, Adrienne Lucy. I also have a Facebook group, and then my website, myfundamentor.com. It's the Fundamentor, Fundamentor. And so that just came from, I mentor or teach people the fundamental skills for growing and running their businesses.
Excellent. Excellent. So I just want to thank you, Adrienne, for taking the time to help listeners get organized in their business, organized, not just organized, but organized for success, and creating those fundamental systems and processes that they need to propel them forward in their business. Because like Adrienne just said, like if you're not set up to take on all the clients you want in your mind, if you don't have those structures, it's just not going to work. Yeah, you can have all the clients in the world, but it all starts with systems. You can't start on step 20 and you need to go back and go to step 1. So with that being said, I am so happy to have you as a special guest. Thank you for your contribution.
Thank you for having me.
And I'll see everyone else in the next episode.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you for tuning in to the Boss Experience podcast. Don't forget to leave a review for this episode and tune in next time.